Michael, it's great to see you here and part of the Kempsford Literary Festival in its first year. It must be quite exciting for you to, be part of something that's brand new.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, I know some of the organisers, that's why I'm here. But, Kempsford is such a lovely little Cotswold village, and I know this area quite well. My uncle used to live near here. And, to be able to come and support a brand new literary festival, it's fantastic. I mean, books are so much fun, and the people here have been having so much fun with the festival. It's a real pleasure. And
I just saw you talking to some of your fans. It must be quite nice to meet them, though.
Oh, being a writer, a lot of it's very isolated. You spend a lot of time on your own writing. It's not lonely because you've got all your characters and your friends in your head, but it's a very isolated life for much of the year while you're writing. But then you come out and you have fun with all the people and the people who love the work that you've done. I like, my website says my ambition is to turn the written word into an adventure. And when you come out and you find that you've succeeded in doing that for so many people, you go home feeling 6 feet taller.
But why did you choose the genre of thriller? Why did you focus on that?
Well, I've written different types of novel. I mean, I've been doing it now for 30 years, and I started off with the parliamentary novels of Francis Urquhart, which the BBC then took on. I've written novels about Winston Churchill that have won awards all the way around the world. Now I'm writing thrillers, contemporary thrillers. Why am I doing that? Because you like to stretch yourself. You like to find something new. You like to... As a writer, I want to get better and better, not simply sit back and take it easy doing the things that I've done so many times before. So it's a new adventure for me, and I hope it'll be a new adventure for the readers too. And it seems to have worked. Hollywood is, even as we speak, is busily trying to turn Harry Jones, the main character in my latest thrillers, into a big screen hero. So that will be a first for a long time in Hollywood, to have a British hero rather than a British villain. Hollywood always shows Brits as being villains, and it's about time they changed.
After university, you did spend some time in America. I mean, what made you come back to England?
Oh, I came back to Britain because if I hadn't come back then, I would never have come back. I mean, I had a very comfortable lifestyle. I was getting on very well. I had a car, I had a motorbike, I had an apartment, I had a big freezer or a fridge filled with beer, the sort of thing. So why did I come back and start working for Maggie Thatcher at £2,000 a year? It's a very good question. I knew that if I hadn't come back when I did, I would never come back, and I didn't want to simply say, no, I've got an easy life here and I'm going to turn my back on Britain. Britain, for me, is still, for all of its faults and frustrations, and there are plenty of those, for me, Britain is still one of the greatest places on earth to live. And, I came back here to work until I messed up, and then I go back to America. And 40 years later, I'm still here.
Well, you mentioned Maggie Thatcher, and obviously the May elections are just around the corner. I mean, does it bring a lot of memories back in the day,
Oh, yes. I go back. Many of my contemporaries, not contemporaries, my successors, I suppose, are now doing what I was doing, planning and working desperately hard for an election. Because, whether we love or hate politicians, and most of us hate politicians, it still makes a huge difference to us and the way that we live in our country as to who we get there. And again, despite all of the headlines about self-serving politicians, so many of them really do come into politics and public service for the best possible motives, and they're working their socks off on all sides. This is not a party political thought. They're working their socks off to get elected and then to try and put their ambitions into practice. So yes, I mean, this is a very exciting time, and I happen to think that this election is going to be one of those very interesting elections where things, when I say change, I'm not being party political, but whoever wins this election, it will be much more significant than many of the other elections we've had in the past, I think. It's a time when people are going to come out and vote because they know that it's so important.
And what made you move on from politics to being a writer?
Oh, I started writing. Writing was one of the great cock-ups of my life. It was an accident. I'd never intended to be a writer, and I was bored on holiday once, and I started literally scribbling beside a swimming pool with no intention of ever sort of finishing the book or getting anything published. And the book that I started scribbling beside a swimming pool, simply as an exercise, rather like climbing Ben Nevis. Loads and loads of people do it. It's really exciting when you get to the top, but it's completely meaningless to anybody else other than you. And that's what I thought finishing my first book was going to be. It's just like climbing Ben Nevis, of no importance to anybody but me. And that first book was called House of Cards, which the BBC made into a most wonderful television drama, and I haven't looked back since.
So do you think it's important that we keep things like the Kempsford Literary Festival, you know, alive and, you know, celebrating, you know, the book?
Do you know, I don't think with literary festivals you have to keep them alive. They remain alive because people love them. And all the way around the country, more and more book festivals are cropping up because they offer fantastic entertainment. People still love books, and funnily enough, as television becomes more and more criticised for what it offers, people are going out more to the theatre. They're going to books. They're finding alternative means of entertainment, not just the internet. We're talking about quality entertainment. And after all, you know, a book, you can get a book for a £5, and it gives you hours and hours of pleasure. And where else can you go and get that many hours of pleasure for a £5? I mean, it's fantastic value as well as being fantastic fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great pleasure.
It's great. Thank you very much.